Welcome to each and every one of you. My name is Ama. I thank you for joining me on today. And guys, there are too many things for me to put in this intro. Okay, so we're going to be covering riding by Massa's house at the Drayton Hall Plantation in South Carolina. We're going to be talking about alligators and, our history with them. We're going to see some on this plantation. And we're also going to see where our ancestors have been literally buried in the backyard. All right, literally buried in the backyard of this plantation. All right. So too much to talk about in the intro. Thank you guys for tuning in. And for those of you who are watching these shares, I appreciate you. And shalom. Thank you. Okay, guys, so this is the backyard. This is the entrance to the backyard. The way people entered plantations in the past was not through, a road. Most often it was from the front, which is the river. And so behind the big house, Massa's house, will be a river. We won't see that river, but just trust me, unless I insert a picture, you'll see that there is a river in front of the house, which we won't see in this drive in. But this is the backyard. This is all a part of the backyard. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, guys, so this is going to take a while to actually drive into the plantation. You can use the speed option on the video to actually speed things up, but it's going to be a pretty bumpy ride, so I'm not sure how that's going to come off when you speed it up. But this I'm showing you because I want you to see how well maintained the rest of the plantation is compared to where our ancestors are, quote unquote, buried. All right, so take your time, take a look. I want you to see everything. Don't miss out on the alligators and just everything. I'm going to discuss this when we get going. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shalom. Okay, guys, so at this point is where things really begin to get eerie. At least for me. Of course, the woods are there, but it just brings to reality or brings to our mind what their reality was, especially those like Harriet Tubman and those who had to make their way through woods and alligators like this one right here that you see, and we'll get a better view of him or his friends when we come back out. They'll actually be lying on the banks there. So it just lets you know that their daily life was full of danger, not only from man, but from the environment as well. All right, so stay tuned and you'll see more in just a minute. Okay, guys, so you see this alligator lying here. Just looking at it frustrates me. I've recorded this over more than once. But this alligator is at least 6 feet, more than 6 feet long. Okay, 6 feet and a couple of inches. But if you know the African American history with alligators and slavery, you know that many of the babies of enslaved persons were used to capture alligators or to lure them to be captured. And so they would take babies of the women who were enslaved, Africans, Israelites, whatever you want to call them, indigenous persons, for those of you who believe that we are indigenous to this continent. They would put them on the banks of these ponds, rivers, swamps, and use them to attract alligators. Their scent, their cries would be used to attract the alligators, and then the so-called alligator catchers would come and capture the alligators. But of course, many of the babies died in the process. So these are just some of the things that our people endured. Also, those who were trying to escape would have to wade through water with alligators in it, snakes, water moccasins as we call them, you know, everything, all sorts of reptiles and creatures and things that can kill you were in their daily environment. So I just wanted you guys to see that and see that this is a plantation and there are alligators on this particular plantation. So right now I'm making my way back to the entrance where we came in, which is the backyard. I just wanted you to see how well maintained the property is to date for the other parts of the plantation. And now we're going to what they call the sacred burial ground. Let's see just how sacred it is, and let's just see how well those tax dollars are being used to maintain this sacred place. All right, welcome to Yanko, Africa. This is Amma. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on today. And as promised, I'm back with part 2. I actually recorded this earlier and some vital information just disappeared off of my phone. So I am going to record this again, and here we go. So I'm back out at the Drayton, what they're calling Drayton Hall, but it's Drayton Plantation, a former slave plantation in the state of South Carolina. And this area right here, I'm going to show you. This is actually the road into the plantation, and I'll show clips of that later. If I haven't put it before, I'll put it after this clip. But this is the road into the plantation. And this is supposed to be the area where the grave site of African Americans, Israelites, former enslaved people were taken. And so I'm going to bring us into this area, and I want to show you guys just where our loved ones, our ancestors are on this particular plantation today, and the present state of the area that's supposed to be a memorial to them. So it says here, a sacred place. A sacred place. The African American Cemetery. All right, and it reads, a place of history. Let me just zoom out of this a little bit. A place of history. Records indicate that this area was identified as a burying ground, likely for enslaved people, by the 1790s. All right, and then it goes on, it says other records document its use in the late 1800s and throughout the early 20th century. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this time right here just to record this. These are photos of some of the people who were either enslaved here during the slavery, prior to the abolishment of slavery, okay? And I'm not out here by myself, so I may have to blur out some people in audio. So if you hear the audio going in and out, that's what's happening, okay? Okay, so this area right here that I'm walking into, this is actually the entrance. But guys, from reading, they have actually discovered that some of our ancestors are buried out here in this parking area. They are buried here. There's no sign, there's no memorial, but there's indication. They have found that they found additional bodies or placed grave sites, which would be the remains of those bodies, in this particular area. Now, the entrance to the cemetery is right here. And I thank you guys for staying tuned in. I'm going to show you some of the graves. It's not a good area, guys. It's not kept up well. This is a public facility. They charge $24 per person if you're not from the area. It's really ridiculous, in my opinion, to charge that amount. As an African American, a descendant of those who were enslaved, I think I should get in for free. All right? But anyway, this is a beautiful iron work here in memory of them. In this particular area of South Carolina on the coast, you have a lot of Gullahs. I am a Gullah. Gullahs are found, and let me just say, Father, may their souls rest in peace as we enter in. I do not come in here to disturb their rest or their peace or just the presence of your spirit here. Let it remain in here. Let it be in here, Father Yah. In Yahushua's name I pray. This area of South Carolina along the coast, the people in this area are known as Gullahs. All right, and I am a Gullah. And Gullahs, we are from
the Jacksonville, Florida area up to Jacksonville, North Carolina, right? And we are people who hold fast to our traditions, which are closely knitted to African culture and our traditions, our language. We have an official Gullah language, all right? And our food, our just everything, our way of life, okay? And so as a Gullah, this place is special to me because it's in the area where I'm from, okay? When I say area, Gullah land, which runs from the area that I mentioned. But for us as a whole, as African Americans. And so when I enter into here, I enter in with all respect for the Most High and for the things that he brought our people through and has brought our people through and continues to bring us through, but also for our people and all the things that they went through. And so you can see this is supposed to be a cemetery. They stated that there were at least 40 bodies that they identified. When I say bodies, graves that they identified, right? But later on, they came back and said that there were far more. The family, which is the Bowman family here in this area, were responsible for providing a lot of information to them as to who was who and where the graves were, and just provided them a lot of history. So they did this little memorial for one of the Bowmans. His name was Richmond Bowman, right? According to the family history, Richmond Bowman was the 7th generation descendant of ancestors brought to Charleston in the 1670s, and they came from Barbados. So they brought them from the continent of Africa over to, then down to Barbados, and from Barbados here to Charleston, all right? And so I believe this is supposed to be him, right? And then, guys, you'll find too here names such as Quash, like Quashe. I saw that on some writings that I read online. You'll see a lot of the African names, Kwashi, CB, Effie, like for Afia, right? So this is an area, and I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible, but with all respect that I can bring to this, all right? This right here is an area that I know houses snakes and everything else. So I'm going to take my time. And also, you guys may know, if you don't know, I'm still recovering from a double broken ankle. So I'm taking my time and dealing with the challenges related to that. All right. But as you can see, this place is not kept up well at all. And guys, this is in the winter time. And if it weren't for winter, I probably wouldn't be able to get back here. It would be filled with green trees, leaves. There are some evergreens back here, but it would be more than what's here right now. And I'm trying to talk to you all with this mask, you know, on my face, so bear with me. But you can see this little bench here. I guess this is where we're supposed to be able to sit. But this is a publicly funded facility. It also deals with, you know, private donations, quite a few of them. So I would expect that this would be taken care of much better, especially when you compare it to the rest of the facility. It's really in a shameful state. Now, this is the gravesite of Mr. Bowens. You see here, this is the man that made so many contributions to providing information to the Drayton Plantation. Now, if you're from this area, you know that there's a lot of Draytons. There are a lot of Middletons, which is another plantation. There are a lot of people who still hold their plantation master's name, okay? But as I continue to go back here, you'll see this area has graves that are much earlier. When I say earlier, more recent, okay? But as we continue to go through here, we're going to find that there are older graves, all right? And one of them is this one, right? John Walker, born June 15, 1879, and he died in May of 1964, which was just after, you know, the abolishment of slavery. As we continue on, you're going to see older grave sites here. Now, these woods are so thick, I'm not going to be able to make my way through it. And guys, these are just the ones that we see the headstones for. These are just the ones that they've added headstones to. There are some that are much older, much older. These are the ones that are just after the abolishment of slavery. And I honestly, I'm having all sorts of feelings about this place. I really do feel that there is a concerted effort to not present all that's back here. Okay. This particular headstone goes back, may they rest in peace, Maggie B. Bradley, 1877 to 1957. So that means whoever gave birth to her definitely was enslaved, right? There are others that say 1879. There are others that are really down in the ground. You can't even see them, really. This one, Cleveland Johnson, November 5th, 1885 to 1926. All right. Now, we start to get to graves like this one that just has initials on it, CJ. May they rest in peace. Rise in victory in Yahushua's name, I pray. Guys, just imagine 78. There were at one time, I read, at least 78 enslaved people who were working at here at the highest height of their, number of people that they had. But that doesn't include all the people who have lived on this plantation over the years. And I'm trying not to cry, all right? I'm trying to keep it together, all right? But it's sad to see the state in which this place that's supposed to be a sacred place is being kept. And when you see Massa's house, which I'll be showing if you haven't already seen it, it's in great condition. Great condition. What is this? I mean, honestly, what is this? This is what's being done with donations that are supposed to go towards the upkeep of a memorial for our ancestors. This is it. A jungle of weeds and sticks. Covered by straw and Lord knows what else. But they say there are 40 to 78 bodies, graves, that have been laid to rest here, and others in the parking lot area, which have no marker, which have nothing. So guys, it's up to us, for those of you who are in the U.S., to do our part to, one, visit these places and know they exist. Here's another one. That's sunk down the ground pretty low, so that lets me know it's been here for a while. Probably longer than these. And the ones up front, honestly, these are the more recent. This is the backyard of the facility, if I didn't mention that. This is literally the backyard. This is we came in through the entrance, but the entrance is basically the backyard. The entrance to the plantation actually comes along the riverbank, right? The entrance to the plantation comes along the riverbank. So people visiting the plantation would take a boat to the front, through the front. And this is the back. And there are gators on here, which I will show if I haven't already shown it. So these are the type of things that our people had to endure. And this is how they are, in my opinion, disrespected after they're gone. So I just wanted you guys to know, I wanted to show you this place. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of headstones that I could read because our people were buried without headstones. Any sticks or crosses that were put there, by all means, have been removed by now or just weathered with time. And there are methods in which you can come and locate bodies. They use those and put proper headstones on the graves of our loved one. They have the nerve here to have a sign that says, "Help us to preserve the past." Use of metal detectors, digging instruments, and the removal of objects are prohibited. Okay. But that doesn't stop them from using it to locate people and lay them to a proper rest. These are some of the names. There's also a Simon and Afia, Kwashi. These names can be traced back to the African continent. In Emmanuel, maybe that was a name given to them. I don't know. We don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to come back here. I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you for taking value or finding value in what's being shared. And look forward to other videos here and, y'all willing, on the continent coming to you very soon. All right, so thank you for taking the time. Yah bless you. Shalom.